What's the store stuff? So I'm gonna call to order at 7 o'clock. Need a motion for, well, we have a quorum. Need a motion for approval of minutes from last time. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Second, one. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so I was just gonna do an introduction. This is Larry Stiver, Aaron Byerly, Heidi Leigh, and Emily Pranger. So Troy is our other member, and he couldn't be here tonight. And we were just gonna wait until January 1 to see if the council member wanted to go on, because we had Nick go off last time, and I totally forgot about having him replace. So we'll see about that in January. Treasury report, Heidi, you want to do that?
We have currently $88,492.07. We will be receiving approximately $23,000 in the December tax disbursement. Expenses for the year, we had $10,000 for the street building. Some money from watershed projects for $23,500 and $750 to the Noble County TIP calculations.
So, the reason we had to meet tonight is, we have a 2026 spending plan that we have to do, per Indiana code. And it's basically the same as last year. So this is the format for it. It's not very user friendly. So we have under debt payments, the $10,000 that we have set aside for the street garage, payments for eligible entities for educational or training programs. We don't have anything that falls under school. Capital expenditures, we just put $100,000 in, and that's could be used for almost anything. So transportation, redevelopment projects, curbs, gutter, shoulder streets, path improvements, street lighting, utility infrastructure, stormwater lines, public park improvements, recreational improvements, cultural attractiveness, real property acquisition and improvements, equipment or personal property. So basically anything that might come up that we don't anticipate, then it falls under that category. Grants and contributions, we don't have any of that. Professional expenses, we allotted $1,000, and that pays for that county tax that she was talking about. So when the county figures out how much money we get in our draws from the TIF, that's a calculation somebody has to do it, so we have to pay for somebody to do that. So that's what that 750 is. Expenditures related to capital operating or expenses for police or fire. We don't have police or fire, so that's zero. Payments of operating expenses, including employee expenses, that's zero. We don't have any employees. Military bases, we don't have any, zero. Payments related to eligible efficiency programs, we don't have any programs that we do, so that's zero. Reimbursement for employee training, no employees, so that's zero. Permissible reimbursements for something about counties, I put that at zero. Expenditures for proceeds of bonds, we don't have any bonds, we don't have any places. So that's zero. Expenditures from property tax levy, that's zero. Expenditures from state or federal grants, and we just put 450,000 in there. If by some stroke of luck we would get this wonderful grant, we would be able to pay for items in, because we already have it allotted in there. Other anticipated expenditures, we just put 50,000 in there. So the total from all of those columns is 611,000. Budgeted. Obviously, we don't have that much money, but so we would need to make a motion to approve the 2026 spending plan. Was there any questions, actually?
Can I take a peek at that?
You may.
Because we don't have to.
Right. I should let's send it out, and I got busy on something else.
So when you do the budget, if you have a budget like of 611 and you don't have the funds to fund that budget, you don't have to execute on the things that you don't have from the other thing.
Correct.
So do we have things that we are? So we have what? 88,000 in here right now.
Mhm.
What are the things that we are fully vested to pay for this year?
The only thing that we're obligated to pay for is the street building, so that's 2 payments of $5,000, so a total of 10.
Okay.
And then that $750 for the TIF calculation, $750
Okay,
for that.
so this and 7.
Mhm. And then that 23.5 is what we had a meeting about last month, or last time we met.
Yeah.
And that was for the watershed plant for improvements to that.
Yeah. Okay.
And that is a beneficial thing to the industrial park, which the industrial park pays the majority of our TIF taxes. So really, we have no amount that we're gonna spend, but you never know.
Yeah.
Somebody might want to say, hey, I want to give you some money.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and real estate.
So this way we will be able to spend it.
You go see this or no? I'm fine.
Okay, so no other questions. I would ask for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2026 budget with Pranger redevelopment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's, then we had a business owner, so Kelly Newsom, he owns the hardware store in town. He purchased Sundays on Sylvan, so that's what this is right here. This is a facade improvements grant request. He, when he purchased it, well, if anybody's been there, you know that the front porch and the roof on the front porch is in bad shape. So it needs to be repaired. So that is what he wants to do. There. He wants to improve that. So he stopped in, gave me a quote. If he does it himself, it'll run 14,000. And I told him I needed some estimates from contractors so that we know what the costs are gonna be. So he dropped off today from CB3 remodeling, that is 21,000. And this one's from Chris Leslie. This one looks like it has some additional costs that he put in. So I'm gonna take the siding replacement out of that. 11,700.
So this, the one from CB3 has siding, windows.
Yeah, we gotta take that stuff out because I gotta look to make sure what is allowable.
So do we have like an action grant or something?
Yes, so we have, and that's what this is. I should send that out before, but I totally forgot that you even dropped that off until Jenny reminded me. So the maximum grant amount that we can give is $5,000. So if they spend 10,000, we can grant them 5,000 of that. Eligible.
So it's like a 3366 action.
So the eligible to apply, the property must be located in the TIF, which it is. Applicant must be the owner, which he is. It must remain assessed 50% commercial, which that is. The business must be registered with a Secretary of State. Buildings receiving, well, that just tells you they can't get another one within 2 years if we grant this one to them. Minimum total project cost must be at least 2,000, so it can be less than the 10. 2,000 is the minimum. Eligible project elements. So eligible work items include practically any work done to the exterior of the structure or the lot, with the exception of normal or routine maintenance activities. So sidewalks, parking lots, sprinkler system, storm or sanitary sewers, wiring, plumbing, heating or air conditioning, resurfacing, resealing, or striping of parking lots is considered routine maintenance. It's not eligible for a project element. Examples of eligible projects include painting, tuck pointing, or other brick, exterior structural restoration, fencing, ceiling, walkways that are not in the public right of way, wall cleaning, perennial landscaping and planting, wall coverings, doors and doorways, shutters, awnings, canopies, signage that meets sign code, windows, roof work, stairs, railings, lighting, fascias, bulkheads, parapets, and cornices and chimneys. So, I mean, I think because he's doing, doesn't specifically say siding, but it does say wall coverings. And painting, so I would say siding would be included. He's doing windows, placing siding, front porch remodel, and gutters. And I mean, none of that's normal maintenance routine activities. Those are all, yes, capital.
I was thinking roof work, the gutters would fall into that, you have windows,
Mhm.
um,
The porch is kind of a,
you have all coverings. So,
awnings.
I mean, you could. Yeah, awnings, fascias.
And they,
Stairs and railings.
It's just
that
an
would be
example.
correct as well, so.
yeah, examples of eligible projects, elements. So this isn't all inclusive. But I can always go back in and add siding to make it more clear. So we agree those all fall under what we're asked for. On the quote from that Chris Leslie, I would, we're not gonna, we're only giving them up to 5,000 anyway, so I would say the travel and the overhead would be excluded. We wouldn't be paying any part of that, but he's over that amount anyway.
Right.
But that quote's quite a bit more than 83, and then you've got ENH. And they're at 1950. So gutters, lift, drivers, you'd have to take it's 5 just for the material, so. And if he does the work, that's what this one was, if he does the work, he's at 14. So what we would want to do is tell him, we would give you this amount, but he's gonna have to give us a signed contract, or he's gonna have to let us know that he's gonna do the work for this amount, which I don't think he's gonna do the work himself. I think he's gonna have someone do it. And then once we have the signed contract, so we could approve it for getting the signed contract from him. And then we don't release the check until the work is completed. And we will check it.
Are there any standards that the work has to be done to?
Well, it has
Certain
it has to be done to the building code.
Yeah.
So,
Anything else? Like normally when you have, like for us in Kennerville, our shop, we had to have it be approved by the historical committee, and so then they had to see the design and all that.
yeah, it's not.
We
a
don't need to
historic
worry
building.
about that. We can just say, hey, this is.
Yeah, but obviously the porch, they'll probably pull that all off, that all have to be inspected to make sure it's got the correct, have the right names for it, but like the floor joists and your step heights to come up the steps.
Normal building code.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna make a note so I can send this stuff out to you guys. So do we think it's a worthy project that falls within our program?
Do we just do one per year or a certain amount per year that will offer in grants?
Right. So we've
5,000 total.
only gotten. This is the only one this year, and I think we've only gotten one previously.
Right.
So we don't have a lot of people knocking on our door. I try to let people know we have it, but some people don't even
Yeah,
know it's here.
well, I mean, I like that it's on the lake, that it's right here in town, people can walk to it, right, like this. It's a positive influence to the community.
And it keeps the business here. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm glad he's reinvesting. And he was at today, he said, I'm thinking if we get everything done, we might stay open later in the season than the other one was just, 6 months, 4 months out of the year. He said, we might stay open till Christmas time. Not sure, but
I think it's a worthy cause, just through the fact that it's anybody you talk to that's been around the lake or anything, they all know. Everybody.
Mhm.
Yeah, even people that don't live here. You can say that, you'll hear, oh yeah, I've been there, I stopped there.
yeah, and we all know the porch is in bad shape. Unless you're
Oh,
just
yeah.
coming up from the lake,
Oh, yeah.
and you don't know it, but it is in bad shape.
It's an accident waiting to happen.
Especially if you're not real steady on your feet and you don't realize that it's not level.
The whole porch is a puddle. Whole
Right.
porch, and you
It's
sat
all-
on a chair there.
If you spill your drink, you're not gonna end up with it like
Yeah,
staying on your lap. It's gonna fall off,
right.
slide off anyway.
Yeah, I think it's worthy.
Okay. Do we want to make a motion to approve once we have a signed contract from him?
Yeah, I mean, this is giving him the approval, hey, we're approving this.
Contingent. on the
So, yeah,
contract. And the finished product inspected.
make a motion that be approved. The grant request. Contingent upon signing of contract.
Basically,
All in favor?
Okay.
Okay. And then the next thing is we have been trying to upgrade that fire hydrant out at the industrial park. The fire department contacted me, I think it was last year, said all of our hydrants are too old. They don't meet the new hose connections. So we went ahead and paid for one of them out of the watershed fund last year. So there is an operating hydrant that the fire department can use if they need to in the event of a fire. But I thought it would be nice if we could, as a redevelopment group, pay for 2 more to get upgraded. And it'll be obviously done next year because it's too late in the year, but we would do the one that's on the corner of Warner and Industrial Bend. So basically right across from your place. And then the other one is I think between the fire department and Precision. Or it's closer to Precision. And that one, he said, needs the connection pipe underground as compromising that be done. But you can buy a hydrant, just a hydrant, or you can buy the hydrant with a pipe and elbow underneath. So I checked pricing, and pricing is running around $5,000 a hydrant. So $12,000. That must have been before I researched it.
It makes sense. You've got business out there, but make sure that can support them if there's fire.
One of the buildings has a sprinkler in it, and I believe that's Fruition. It's one that furthest back. But if we can get at least one on the road that goes towards aggregate, and then one by Precision, which they could also use it for Fruition, that kind of covers us for those areas, and then we can work on upgrading that access moving forward. I just think it makes sense to spend the money in the area that pays for most of the taxes on it.
Yeah.
Do we have any more discussion about that? Any already?
No, I think that's a good idea. I think that's a very important. To have that,
Can I put a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to request, to repair the 2 fire hydrants, at Warner and Industrial Bend and between the fire department and Precision.
All in favor? Okay, and then, update on the watershed improvement. So last time we met, we talked about some work that needed to be done to that building, and that work has been completed. We painted we had the buildings checked by a mason. He came in, Jim Wilkinson, he's local, he does all our signs for us. And he fixed what was broken on them. Some of the blocks were actually falling out. There was some major problems with the structure of it, so we fixed all that for us. So that was $1,500, and then the guys painted the buildings, and we had about $600, $700 in paint. And then the 2 roofs we had somebody fix the one a couple of years ago. Terrible job. We found this contractor out of Kendallville. He was really good. He came out, he looked, he even came in and talked to me about what needed to be done, why it needed to be done. And he came out with both of them. Those ran about 15.
Between 12 and 15,
Probably 15. So the 23.5 that we gave helped, and then there's still we have 2 production wells out there. So well number 2 in 2024, we did a servicing of it. We still need to do the number 1 well, and I got a quote for that. That was this year, or last year. I think it was this year. The quote was at $18,000 for them to service it. So I'm meeting with the watershed group, hopefully in a couple weeks, and then they'll approve to have that servicing done next spring. So, and hopefully then everything should be fixed in there, because there was the right hand gear drive bit. We ended up fixing, the guys bought the part, and then they went in and fixed it themselves, because the company that does our servicing and does our inspections, they were like, we just need to buy a whole thing. I mean, that's what everybody says now. You just need to buy, oh yeah, for $150,000, we'll just buy a whole new thing. We did it for $5,000. Yeah. And The cul-de-sac on Warner Drive, I'm gonna probably give up on that because this Ready To grant that they said we were gonna get all this money from. I don't know what's going on with it. I meet with Melanie from the EDC and she is not getting any feedback from them. It seems to me that the money's gonna probably stay in Allen County. But we'll keep it open. Hopefully, maybe we'll get something. Because it would be nice to make that a turnaround there.
What is the Ready To grant?
So it was a grant that Northeast Indiana received to do projects. So one of the projects was I think it was under Holcomb. Because Ready One isn't even there. So Ready One came out and there's all these projects that cities and towns can do. And they're not even got those a third of the way done, and that's what's holding up Ready To. They won't disperse the money on Ready To until Ready One is 75% dispersed.
Mhm.
So if the people aren't getting the projects done, then it holds everything up. And I don't know if they can hold it indefinitely or what happens. Or if at some point they say, well, you're not getting it together and you're not getting it done, we're just gonna throw the money back in the money. But that was so Ready One, I believe, is what they use to upgrade the airport in Fort Wayne. So it's big money. But it tends to go for big projects, and our projects are little projects. So I'll leave it open. We'll see. And then the street lights, that's a project that it's kind of gotten nowhere. So I'm hoping maybe this winter I can look at some of that. It's ARC and the chamber would like to put the nicer street lights on State Road 9 and on Front Street. Because right now all we have is the poles from NIPSCO electric poles. They don't look very nice. So
Well, some are pretty bad.
they're really bad. And NIPSCO does not want you to put your stuff on their poles anymore, even though we do.
I know.
We're not supposed to.
They told me that too.
Yeah, we're not supposed to, but so that is a project we need to look into. Then the last thing I had is that since we have like $88,000 in there, I think it would make some sense to invest some of that money and at least get some percent of interest on it. Since we're a city town, we can't invest in the stock market. So Trust Indiana is a consortium that they came up with for municipalities to be able to invest. They get a little bit better returns than what your local banks get. And I use it for the Conservancy District and you have some money in it from the town. Right now, it's in October, the end of October, the percent was 4.11%, which, it's not great, but it's not bad. And we can pull the money out anytime we want to without penalty. So, I mean, we might have to pay it like it's a wire transfer fee is all you're getting for to get the money out. So, I mean, I think it makes good sense to at least invest some of it. So now we have to determine what that amount is. But we know we're going to get another 23,000 here at the end of the year. So, if we did 50,000, 75,000, I don't think that would be a problem with getting 23 in. So did 75, you'd still have 13 there, and then you're getting 23 in, so you have 36 in there, and then our bills are 10. Of course, we're giving 10 to the fire hydrants. You can take that out. Maybe you don't want to do 75.
25, so call it 26. A little over 26, basically, is what your expenses would be if you had the 10 for the fire hydrants, the 5 here, and these kind of wash. 25. So when I said-
Well, the 23.5 has already been, is taken out of there.
Oh, it's already.
That's an
excluded.
expense we've already paid.
Oh,
And we've already paid the 10,000 for the building. So we have the 10,000 for the hydrants that we would need to pay out, and then the 750 on the tip. So that's the only thing that's still
So
outstanding.
we have
And then the 5 for the bridge.
something.
Oh, for the sun. Yeah, so, we'll just do 50. We can always at the next meeting, if we want to put more in, we can.
Can you pull out, just a portion of it?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, you can pull out, if you want to just pull out $10,000, you can just pull out $10,000.
I'd pay it as much in as what that you can see right now, you can put in. If it's not a problem under the $25 wire fee, you're gonna be ahead.
When do you have to pay your first $5,000 installment on the building?
So June,
We've already done 20. And within 20, probably January, one probably June.
it's either June and December or January and June. Yeah. So yeah. it was
So
already
we'll have
done
another
that.
5 from that sometime.
Wait, so it tells me right. So we paid one in July. Okay, paid one in January, paid the other one in July.
We got one coming up in January.
So basically, that's about 20 grand. Then we've got 23 coming in, so you put 80 in and still have some.
Yeah,
Mhm.
But you trust this company, you've used them?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, excuse me. They're
And they
vetted,
have trust in the name, it's gotta be.
they're vetted through our associations. So like AIM, which is, they change the names all the time. It used to be the Cities and Towns Group. Now they call it Accelerate Indiana Municipalities, I think is what it stands
Okay.
for. But so that group, and then also like any of your counties could invest in it. I believe probably schools could too.
Hmm.
It's kind of like a bank, but they just get better rates. I don't know why.
probably subsidized or something.
Something. I don't know. So you want to do 85 or you want to just do 80?
I'm good with 85.
I'm good at 55. No penalty withdrawal, it's a lot easier.
Right.
No more.
So do we get tax disbursements quarterly or is that?
It's
biannual?
twice a year. So June 30th and then December. Well, it might come earlier in December.
It might,
Right. Because we usually get it before we close our books for the year. So usually like the
Mid-December, probably.
mid-December and then mid-July.
Okay.
Because by the time they do the taxes, so you pay your taxes in May. You get our disbursement in June. Well, this is all subject to change with what our governor did with our money. So if if our income tax is coming through the federal government, we may be years out getting that money. So-
Yeah, and that number changes, right? Like it's
Yeah,
going
it's
down.
not static like this one is. So
Yeah,
good
so
luck to us.
that was one thing I was wondering. I went to a meeting the CLC had. Well, a meeting, they had a speaker.
Is that the one that Ben was at?
I think
I
so.
was there.
Oh, were you?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
That was a good talk. Not it.
Yeah, so it made me start thinking like we probably need Rome City, Iowa, all the cities in the county communicating and collaborating with the school system and Noble County to figure out, okay, well, how are we gonna attack this so that because it's probably gonna have to come through adjusting taxes, right? I know people don't want to hear that, but you're losing.
Well, the problem
this
with
side,
it
you've
is
got a
that the
balance.
schools can't capture any of that. The schools are out of the local option income tax. They will get none of that money.
What do you mean?
So the income tax that's supposed to replace what you're losing, the schools are not included in that. And we found that out when we went to the meeting that the county council held. Because the West Noble and the Central Noble superintendents were there. And they were pitching
Was Ben the guy from Tri-State? The guy I saw was from Tri-State, or not Tri-State. Sorry, I'm used to Tri-State, because that's what it was when I went to Trine University.
No, Ben is our assessor.
Yeah, this was a different one. So maybe I'm getting bad information.
How long ago was that one?
It was just last week on Thursday.
No, from what they told us, that schools are not eligible for the income tax. Only municipalities are eligible. And townships and schools and districts, special district. So I don't know what they're doing for schools, but every time I see Dave Abbott, I go, what are you doing about SCA1? You better do something. I said, because you're pushing us. I said, Dave, I said, basically what you've done is, do you remember when you were the council president here 32 years ago? And the cops drove K cars because we had no money? I go, that's what you're doing. You're putting us back 30 years. He goes, what? I go, yeah, that's what you're doing to us. So they all say that they're working on it to correct it.
Yeah, we're hearing there's probably gonna be some addendums to it, but the guy that spoke from Trine actually made it sound like the only way the schools can recoup is by adjusting the taxes. But now you're saying the schools won't get any of that, which I don't know.
Yeah, they said they're not gonna get any of that, only municipalities. Schools, so there's two parts to it. There's the local income tax, and then what's the other one? Well, there's still gotta be some property tax.
Yeah, that's what it was, property tax.
So they'll get that some property tax, but they're not gonna be eligible for the local option. And see, we're only gonna get it if we beg and plead with the county council and the county council takes pity on us, and then we get the 5 cents or whatever it is that they say we're eligible for because we're under 2,500 population. Yeah. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't see how towns or schools, I think basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to get school systems to consolidate again.
So it sounds like
Mm-hmm.
that, and pushing the local to raise property taxes so that they have a way of saying, hey, we lowered your your regular.
But see,
taxes.
these monies that they're talking about doesn't affect the state in any way. The state doesn't get any part of income tax or property tax.
Yeah, but I think the governor is
basically-
trying to get a win, like I lowered your
Well,
taxes.
yes, but
Right.
the average citizen, if they would just use this little computer right here, they would know that he did nothing to the state. He's damaging all of the local entities.
Yeah.
Where you live is what he's damaging. It's not decreasing the state funding at all by zero. They're still gonna get everything they need to run what they wanna run. They're just taking money away from us. And the other thing about it is that, so people who have houses that are $70,000 or under are gonna take a huge hit. Because they're gonna pay more in property tax and they're gonna pay more on their income tax. And people who have second homes or rentals are gonna pay less. Does that make sense?
No.
That's how it's set up right now.
My second home's high enough.
You'll get a savings.
You know what mine is there?
I'm sure. Yeah.
Cause it's underwater, I suppose.
Right.
I don't
Yeah,
have any
that's
other
why.
idea what it is. Cause all my farms, all my home I live in, none of them's that much. This is double of what I pay taxes.
Yeah,
Oh,
In the cow.
well, the farmers
Yeah,
yeah,
you do get a pretty
get a
good
break, which
break.
they should get a break
Yeah.
because, we need to eat. I have
Yeah.
no problem with that, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. I know what they were thinking. He wanted to win. And this is a way to get a win without having to cut anything that is funding the stuff he wants funded.
So does it take effect January or?
So they said it was gonna start affecting us in 2026, but we got our 1782 notice. And our budgets were fully funded. 26.
Oh, really?
We had no cuts. So it's really gonna, if they don't do anything by 2030, that's when it's really coming in, 2030. It's really gonna be a problem. So hopefully, so anytime you see Dave or Sue Glick or any of those people, remind them.
Yeah.
Because, this is not gonna work. It is not gonna work. I don't understand who thought, so then they go from a stable tax to an unstable tax. So if you think about in 2008, how many people were laid off? Think about that. And if that's what you're trying to fund your schools or your municipalities, your townships, your libraries on, and they don't have a stable income coming in, but we've already got our budget set. It's kind of like the doom and gloom that Braun did at the beginning of the year, which started all this. So whoever he hired to forecast did a shitty job, we all know that, right? And said we weren't going to get any money. The state was losing money. Well, then turn around 2 months later, they're getting more money in than they ever anticipated, and it's over and above what they thought what they lost back in February. But we don't hear about that. I mean, we're over and above, and we have all this surplus out there. So why are we changing the taxes? If we have the money coming in and we have a surplus, what's the big deal about changing the tax? You can't get an answer for it. You're not gonna get one. I think it's just you wanted to win. And the average person will look at that and they won't understand that their paycheck is gonna be a lot less. Because by the time you pay your income tax out of that, you weren't paying that amount of income tax before. So think about the person that lives like in Kendallville. So they automatically get to raise their income tax to help offset what they're losing. Then Noble County has to raise theirs because of what they're losing. They're losing millions. And then they have the option of raising it for municipalities, for libraries, for special districts. So by the time they get done raising all those,
How much are they thinking that tax rate would raise up? I mean.
they told us that there was
It's
a
an
back.
income tax
It's an income
and then
tax.
you have the opportunity for property tax, right? Those are the two.
Well, the income tax is what they're gonna raise, not the property tax. You're getting, the property tax is still gonna be there, but it's gonna go down every year incrementally until it gets to a certain number and then that's it. But see, we're so, like here, I think one of the reasons that our budget wasn't cut is because our assessed value goes up. Our assessed value went up 17 million from last year to this year. So that's why you never get the 1, 2, 3 max credit, why your taxes keep going up, because they said that it was gonna top out at some point with the market. Well, it doesn't top out with the market on lake property because there's a finite amount of lake property and everybody wants it. Not everybody, but a lot of people want it.
Right.
So that number that they said was gonna stop doesn't, it just keeps going up. So that's why our assessed value goes up. So we don't get the cut, but eventually we will because they're gonna put that artificial stopper in there. And then you're gonna have to come up with the money through income tax. So those people that are working are gonna take a double hit. So that's why I say the poorer people, because their property tax is gonna go up and then their income tax is gonna go
Why
up.
wouldn't they hit the property tax because it's more consistent, right? Property values very rarely if ever go down, you know? So that would be the consistent income
Correct.
with then supplementing with the tax. I mean, we have a really, really low property tax and income tax compared to some other states, but I would say.
Yeah, well, that's why I say, you know, people complain, but, you need to go live in another state. That charges
It's
a
like
freaking
9%
fortune,
for property tax.
right,
It's crazy.
it is. I don't know what the answer's gonna be, but I don't see good things happening.
It's positive changes.
Well, you know, here's my thing, I don't know how long they studied it, but he wasn't in office very long.
Yeah.
So where'd it's come from? I always tell Dave Abbott, I go, you know, all these laws that you guys pass, if you would just send them through summer study committees, 2 sessions. Before you start voting on these laws, I bet 90% of them people would forget about and they wouldn't even want them. Because it's always because they get into office because they've got something that ticks them off, so they want to fix it, or they've got a buddy who's in business and he needs something done, and or you know, it's never about what should be done. It's trying to make somebody happy on the side. Ridiculous. But if they would go through and study it, they would see that half the stuff they put through you can't even enforce. You know, my favorite one is, well, somebody threw a cigarette out going down 69 and it went in somebody's window and they got burned. So now there's a rule about throwing a cigarette out a window and you can get a ticket for it. Driving 80 miles an hour down 69? Really? Who's going to catch it?
Yeah.
We needed a law for that though, right?
They got a lot. Where are they?
I mean, is a police officer really going to enforce that? No.
You ain't gonna see it.
And if somebody reported it, how could they do anything about it? Because they have no evidence.
They don't even do anything about the cell phones.
Right.
They made laws, but they don't.
Well, because that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
How can the phone companies will not give them access to see if they were out on it. So they got to go through a whole order. The only way they can get that is to go through and get a court order. And they only do that in the event of an accident.
Yeah.
Because they're checking to see if they were on their phone. And a lot of times it's the insurance companies because they don't pay out.
They don't want the hassle. So they pay for it.
But that's where, so we should probably make a motion to do the investment of 85,000 into Trust Indiana.
Yep, I'll make a motion to invest the 85,000 from the account into the Trust Indiana.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, I think that was the last thing on our agenda. So we only meet a couple times a year. So typically, we probably won't meet again unless we get a facade or something comes up and there's something we need to meet about, but we will definitely always try to meet. We'll try to meet in October because we were late doing this. We should have done this or now because it's due December 1st. We'll try to plan on an October meeting. That way we're getting away from Thanksgiving and Christmas stuff. Yeah. So we'll try to set something for October and if we need to meet sooner. Yeah. And I will send out this facade stuff to you. So you've got that. And I think there's a couple other things in here, like the ordinance on how this was set up. So it kind of shows you the areas where the tip is. So it's basically State Road 9, Front Street, and then the industrial part, but it has a map. So you can look at that. And then if you guys have any questions, send me an email.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you. Want a motion to adjourn?
I'll have the motion to adjourn at 7:47.
Second.
Thank you very much for coming out on this lovely evening. Made it. Quick to get it together. Appreciate you guys taking time to be here.
Yeah. You gonna shut the recording off?
Yeah.
You guys can hear us ramble.
No, our board meeting, we always get off track too.
Yeah.